Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. A lot of people had the day off today. I could tell by all the traffic out on the interstates. Getting from point A to point B was a little trickier today than it has been, but that's because folks are out enjoying beautiful weather this afternoon. And we've got some minor tweaks and changes to our advantage to talk about for your Easter weekend forecast. First of all, let me just say this. In terms of an overall widespread severe weather outbreak, this is not the weekend for that. So that's one of those factors there. But any storm that does develop has the potential to be strong to severe, with our main threats being damaging wind and possibly hail. Now, the tornado threat is very low, but it's there. Anytime you've got a 2 to 5% likelihood, then you've got a chance. There's always a chance. I mentioned the beautiful weather. The skies earlier this morning had some low-level cloud cover. Now we've got some high-level cloud cover, but plenty of sun outside for your Friday afternoon, and we could make it close to 87 today. Looking at temperatures around the state right now, we're at 83 here in Little Rock. Now, they have a big weekend in Fayetteville, playing a doubleheader this afternoon at Baum Stadium, with the Razorbacks taking on Texas A&M at 76 there. Now, there's some thicker cloud cover and some shower and thunderstorm activity that will develop later tonight. In this region of the state, they also have the potential for heavy rainfall. As we head on through the weekend, Saturday right now is looking pretty good. I've made some adjustments to the Saturday forecast. Whenever I put a percentage down for a chance of rain, I don't like to adjust it too much unless it's necessary. And earlier this week, I pinpointed Saturday for about a 40% coverage of thunderstorms. And now it looks like it'll just be isolated in nature, because most of central Arkansas should just see cloud cover, and the storms are going to stay to our west and northwest. Now, the River Valley will have a higher chance of rain and thunder, northwest, and even some places in northeast Arkansas. But it's not a bad start to your Easter weekend. It is a little on the breezy side outside, and it's also fairly humid. The dew points have been coming up. And that's one of the things you need for thunderstorm activity, showers and thunderstorms. You got to have moisture levels increasing. So that's our visible satellite. Soak it in. There is some filtered sunshine out there with thicker clouds to the west of us. Here's what the Easter weekend forecast looks like. Again, I've made some adjustments and modifications. I've taken our chance of rain almost completely out for Saturday. That should be some good news for folks. Let's keep it at 20% or less for central Arkansas, just to be safe. And Sunday, scattered PM thunderstorms are still possible. I'm going to show you the timing in just a few minutes. A couple of different of our forecast models. We're now within that 48-hour window. How will it impact or affect your Easter festivities, whether it's a church visit in the morning hours or possibly Easter egg hunts during the day, Saturday or Sunday? In all, it's not an exceptional weekend, but it's okay. It's just that Easter Sunday will have some challenges with the chance of rain and thunderstorms. So here we go. What are the impacts we're expecting? We're expecting rain and thunderstorms off and on throughout the weekend, mainly northwest and north central Arkansas, western Arkansas. Friday and Saturday looking good for central Arkansas. Then we'll keep an eye on a line of storms as it moves in. That'll be the frontal boundary, and it's along that front we'll have a few scattered storms. The heavy rain threat continues in northwest Arkansas, but I've even dropped a little bit of that moisture down as we go on through the weekend. It doesn't look like it's going to be nearly as heavy, but there's still flood watches in effect up there. 2 to possibly 4 inches of rain in some places. Now let's get to it. Let's talk about the severe weather threat that's been with us all week. Storms Prediction Center, they have these 8-day outlooks. You know, the first couple of 3 days, pretty spot on. But once you get to day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, it really kind of, it's just up in the air, right? So we've had this risk, and this is primarily for later tonight in northwest Arkansas, and it's a level 2 out of 5, and it's been like that all week. Okay, an isolated severe storm is possible, but here's what is at stake in terms of the modes of severe weather. Tornado brief in that gray area, that's a 2% likelihood of a tornado. The hail, again, I'll show you the hail possibilities in a few moments. Hail up to quarter-sized, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Eureka Springs, Berryville, over to Mountain Home, and the winds of 60 plus also generally in the same region. So the tornado threat is very low. The hail threat and the wind threat are there. So if we have storms, there will be the potential for that if we have storms. The day 2 outlook shapes up like this, and this continues to really shrink and push back to the northwest. This frontal boundary is going to move into northwest Arkansas. It kind of gets stuck and meander around. And pockets of showers and storms will travel along the front. That's a recipe for heavy rainfall. But the risk tomorrow still remains pretty much west of the Little Rock metro area. And it moves into our region late tomorrow into tomorrow night. I don't think that you're going to have problems during the day tomorrow with events and activities that are planned outside, except that it is going to be very warm. It's going to be fairly breezy, and pollen's going to be blowing about all over the place. If you have allergies, you're going to feel the impacts unless you take, of course, your allergy medication. So the day 2 modes of severe weather shape up like this. The tornado risk, again, it's a low end possibility. Fayetteville, Russellville, down to, let's say, DeQueen. Hail and wind will be the main primary concerns Saturday, and in central Arkansas, I don't see many concerns at all. So that's certainly some good news there. Day 3, or Sunday, Easter Sunday, everything begins to move to the east. And I expected last night that we might see a portion of the state, Little Rock North, that might be placed under an enhanced risk of severe weather. Luckily, it has not, or it did not, but you still have a couple of more days, and it's possible that it could. But as that boundary moves from west to east, we are going to see storms develop along the front. Not widespread storms, but scattered thunderstorms. And those storms will have the capability of producing some strong wind gusts, some large hail, and we cannot rule out the possibility of a brief tornado. But the weather risk is Sunday. And the timing looks like it's going to be more of an afternoon and evening risk. The European model all week has been kicking the system through a lot sooner rather than later. But the last couple of model runs is putting the brakes on that front. So that slows things down. That also puts us in an area where we have a lot more of the daytime heating to deal with. So more instability during Sunday afternoon. With this boundary, you've got the moisture, the lift, the instability, and some wind shear, enough wind shear that could present a problem with 1 or 2 tornadoes. So those are the severe weather risks we have this weekend. And they've been fairly consistent. They haven't changed a whole lot. But what has changed for central Arkansas is the timing of the precipitation. So the hail risk, let's talk about this. Large hail's a possibility. Anywhere in that bluish area that you see on screen, there is a possibility of hail. Let's walk you through time. This is this afternoon, roughly right now 2:30, but let's take you through the evening hours. It begins to perk up a bit in northwest Arkansas. So any storm that develops that becomes strong to severe this afternoon in northwest Arkansas could produce a pretty large hailstone, 1/4 inch or larger. But it will begin to wane as we head into the overnight hours. Overnight into the early morning hours tomorrow, and we see it recede in northwest Arkansas. This is Saturday, 7 o'clock. There may be some storms ongoing, and notice a wave in northwest Arkansas, and then another wave behind that flank in southeast and eastern Oklahoma. So that comes in right behind. The hail risk doesn't change a whole lot tomorrow afternoon, especially for us in central Arkansas. It's there, and all this really means is if a storm develops, then we could have hail. And if we did have hail, how large could it be? It could be, 1/4 to 2 inch size at the max. Now, the purple area that we had just a few moments ago showed some very large hail possible. Let's move you through the rest of Saturday into Sunday morning. The hail risk begins to disappear in northwest Arkansas. That atmosphere is worked over pretty good, and we have a little bit of a hail risk for the rest of us. And according to this is the high resolution model. We call it the HRRR. The front will be just west of us on Sunday morning and take its time moving through during the day. So that's the hail risk that we see with the storms if they do come together. Another issue is the flooding risk, and it appeared as if that northwest Arkansas could see 3, 4, 5 inches of rain, and that's still possible. The worst case scenario is those higher limits of rain. More realistically speaking, maybe 2 to 3 or 4 inches of rain, still warranting a flash flood watch over northwest Arkansas. And you notice those thin bands of green in eastern Arkansas, those are the remaining river flood warnings that we have. Again, the Ouachita River, the White River, and the Mississippi River has a flood warning, and it's going to be a little while. So if we can keep rain away from eastern Arkansas for this round, that will help to see those waters recede. But let's say the Arkansas River, the Mulberry River, those rivers in western and northwestern Arkansas, they may go up because of the rainfall. It could be some excessive rainfall over the weekend. So that's your flood alerts. And here's a couple of 3 different model forecasts. and I've honed in to make my own here, but we use the guidance from the European, the GFS, and in this case the graph as well. So this is the European model, and it's backed off quite a bit between now and Sunday. It does keep a higher probability of 2+ inches of rain northwest Arkansas, certainly over into Oklahoma. You get into the River Valley, an inch and a half is possible. The GFS is also backing off a bit, but still keeping the zone of the highest precipitation over northwest Arkansas. We could pick up less than a half an inch here in Little Rock. I tell you, I'd love to have some rain, just to knock the pollen levels down a notch or two. And here we are running toward the end of April before you know it, and a lot of the trees will have done their thing. Still, pine trees are pollinating everything in sight. But rain would certainly be a good thing. And the one last model is the graph. This takes us through Sunday. And it too is pinpointing that the heaviest rain is expected over northwest Arkansas. Central Arkansas, this graph is saying, okay, half an inch to maybe an inch with some of those heavier thunderstorms. So all of that said, here's what I'm kind of thinking now. And again, I've backed off a little bit from the overall rain totals. The southeastern half of the state, a half an inch, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Central Arkansas, a half to 1 inch of rain here. And I've carved back the amounts for northwest and the River Valley, 1 to 2 in that peach color, 2 to 4 possible in the orange color, and there could be even more than that. A lot of it still depends on when these storms develop and where they move. The storms are expected to come together later on tonight and may impact that second game of the Razorback doubleheader versus Texas A&M. Okay, let's find out now frontal positions. What's going on now? We've got a stationary boundary. And the stationary front. A stationary front is defined as a boundary that's moving or meandering less than 7 miles per hour either way. Whether it's moving forward as a cold front or backwards as a warm front. It's just kind of stuck right now. And you can see some areas of green beginning to show up, some light shower activity. Now this is an area later tonight that may perk up and be a little stormy at times, may have some thunderstorms. I expect that there will be a watch that will be issued at some point later in the day today. But this is light rain shower activity currently. Not much going on here. We have the breaks and the clouds here in Little Rock, and that's going to allow for our temperatures to climb into the upper 80s this afternoon. I put out 87 for a high. We're at 83 at 2. So it's possible between now and 4 or 5 o'clock we see 87 degrees in Little Rock and points south. But in northwest Arkansas, they may be where they are, and they may stay there because of the thicker cloud cover and certainly the rain chances that are going to be picking up. So let's walk you through the short-term models. Are short in terms of the high res, a short term, 48 hours to 60 hours. This is the graph. And I got to preface this by saying that, once again, I'm not expecting a complete washout. Some rain would be nice, but things have kind of tweaked back a bit. All right, let's put the graph into motion. This is going to take us through tonight, late tonight, early tomorrow morning. There may be some areas of some thunderstorms in northwest Arkansas, pockets of thunderstorms. As we head through the day Saturday, stays in northwest Arkansas. Most of what happens tomorrow stays northwest and west of the state. Okay? There will be some showers and thunderstorms that develop in the northwestern part of Arkansas. Now, moving forward, this is Saturday afternoon and evening. And oh, by the way, partly sunny to mostly cloudy tomorrow for central, eastern, and southeastern Arkansas. So we'll get plenty of daytime heating tomorrow. Lots of wind. Your egg hunts in central and eastern Arkansas should be fine if you have them planned on a Saturday or if you have a church service on a Saturday. I mean, some people might do that. Outdoors, got to contend with the wind and pollen, but you should be all right. This is 6 o'clock. Look at that, northwest Arkansas, just 1 or 2 spotty storms. This model may not be performing very well. And then you get the boundary closing in on northwest Arkansas. Sunday morning, storms in eastern Oklahoma begin to push in to northwest Arkansas. The timing of those storms, as you see them line up, this is tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. Notice what happens in the eastern half of the state. If the graph holds true, then we may have a lot of sunshine Sunday afternoon. I'm sure that folks will be quite all right with that. Sunshine equals instability and storm fuel and energy for these storms. And the storms, and notice how they're broken apart here in that line along that front. Well, let's put it in motion, find out what they look like a little farther to the east. All right, we'll take it closer to central Arkansas by 7 o'clock. They kind of break apart a bit. They're not nearly as impressive. But I would expect that the storms in north central Arkansas, where I would anticipate some type of watch, would need to really be honed in on. We'd have to closely watch those Sunday afternoon. The farther south you travel, you may not have the parameters for severe weather. At least most of southern Arkansas may not have as much as northern Arkansas. More jet stream energy aloft here. But they're broken in a line moving through central Arkansas right now. The timing around 7 or 8 o'clock. As we move forward, by 12 o'clock, that line is still, or broken line, still in eastern and southeastern Arkansas. It's not really moving quickly. And that does concern me a bit, because that puts the chance of having a few strong to severe thunderstorms into early Monday morning over the eastern part of the state. And that front that moves through is expected to kind of slow down and stall out and lift back to the north by midweek, and more rain is expected. So that is what the graph looks like. Now I'll take you to the HRRR. The HRRR's not going to take us all the way through Sunday, but it's very similar. It's showing that the rain and thunderstorms will primarily stay over the west and northwest. This is what the radar could look like. The projection 7:30 tonight, a few scattered storms over northwest and western Arkansas. By tomorrow morning, storms in northwest Arkansas. They will continue to move north, southwest to northeast and kind of train over the same areas. This is Saturday evening. Now, we could see 1 or 2 spotty showers in central Arkansas, but I think it's a better bet that we're not, that it'll look partly sunny to mostly cloudy with a few scattered storms. And then we head into Saturday night and early Sunday morning. This is as far as this model's going to take us. They're pretty much lined up with the front in eastern Oklahoma moving into western Arkansas, and then take its time moving through the afternoon and the evening hours. So that's where we are currently with the forecast. I'll make a few more adjustments and changes for 5, 6, 6:30, and 10 o'clock tonight. But generally speaking, the good news is that Saturday looks less impacted by rain and thunder for the central part of the state. Those thunderstorms may not develop in central Arkansas on Sunday till after church. So that's kind of a win-win scenario. Yeah, if you've got Sunday afternoon Easter egg plans, you know, they saw the timing of those storms on the graph. You know what, I got a little time. Let's go back and let me show you that. I'm in line more with what the graph is saying. This is by 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. So by 5:30, the storms are still away from central Arkansas, northwest Arkansas. It may not be so good for them, but it'll be good for eastern and central Arkansas. Forecast, let's get to that. I'll go ahead and share this with you. Tomorrow afternoon's highs. After a high today in the upper 80s, tomorrow probably the middle 80s. I'll take a closer look at it. I may bump that 83 up to 85, but notice a lot of 80s across central Arkansas tomorrow. Partly sunny, breezy conditions. Now, for those of you with egg hunts on Saturday and Sunday, this is what you can expect throughout the day. Notice there is not a raindrop in those clouds for Saturday. In fact, I think we might even see a little sunshine Saturday. But let's call it partly sunny to mostly cloudy. Our readings will jump up close to 80. If you start off 9 o'clock in the morning and you're going to the park by 3 o'clock, near 80 degrees. How about Sunday? And this is what it looks like for those of you hunting eggs, or maybe you're going to be out and about, family gatherings on Sunday evening and Sunday afternoon. Until that area of rain moves through, we're looking at temperatures close to 80 Sunday. We'll start with clouds and a few breaks in those clouds by the afternoon hours. It's not all good, though, because of throwing a little fuel on the fire. If those storms can tap into that instability, they could be strong to severe Sunday afternoon, and that's why we have that risk of severe weather. Forecast tonight, cloudy, 68 for the low. I'm blocking the page, I apologize. 83 tomorrow. Again, I might bump that up a little bit, but the 7-day outlook, there it is. I've dropped that Saturday percentage to 20%. I'm going to keep it there, and I'm going to keep Sunday at about a 60% chance with a preference of the afternoon and the evenings. Active forecast coming our way as we head into next week. We'll get a break Monday and Tuesday, maybe a little bit more in the way of cloud cover. I haven't really had a chance to look beyond, but we are going to stay active. Rain, maybe not thunderstorms, but showers possible Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to give you a preview of what could come about next week all the way into Friday. And our temperatures will still range well above average for this time of year. Upper 70s, close to 80 degrees. With sky conditions that'll be mostly cloudy to partly cloudy, and a chance of thunderstorms from time to time. All right, and if you're just joining us, thank you very much. You're watching me on THV 11 Plus. We do a little Easter weekend stream, and if you missed it, let me take you back to the Easter forecast for the next 2 days and just say this. Saturday is looking a lot better than it has this week. And that's certainly good news for those of you here in central Arkansas that have plans on the outside on Sunday. Scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Our temperatures from 83 on Saturday to 80 on Sunday. I'm going to have much more tonight at 5, 6, 6:30, and 10. Thank you for joining us today. And have a great afternoon. We'll see you this evening on the news.